guys. Welcome to the Love Experience Show. I am your host, Ashley J, and I'm a bit tired tonight. So, y'all might see me with low energy. You see my eyes. But I'm giving you my best, okay? So, if you don't mind, go ahead and invite five people to watch with you. I think we're going to have a great discussion tonight. And for those of you who are new to the show, I am a wife, a mother, author, speaker, couples therapist. I am a dating and relationship coach. And I love all things relationships, okay? I love love. And my goal is to help you have a fantastic relationship. All right. So tonight, you see the title of our discussion. I want to get naked. Okay. And this is, we gonna get into it. Okay. Um, naked is not exactly what you think you may be thinking it is. And it is not, I would say it's not a conventional um way of thinking about nakedness. But this came to me and it blew my mind when I heard it. So, or when I read it, excuse me. Hey, Sonia, thank you for popping on. It blew my mind when I heard it. So, I had to share it with y'all. All right. So I have been doing this devotion on the U Version app, and it is called Sexpectations. And it is Sexpectations, God Intimacy, and Your Love Life. I highly recommend reading and going through this devotional because let me tell you something. Dr. Carol, she's the one who wrote this devotional. This I know it was right up my alley. May not be up your alley, but I still suggest you read it because the way she breaks down intimacy and your love life and how the word fits into those areas and how God fits into those areas, I applaud her. Okay. I don't want this devotional to end. It's that good to me. So, hey, Miss Alfreda. So, I from reading this devotional, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, where she talked about nakedness. And I want to ask you, when you think about the word naked, what comes to mind? What comes to your mind? Is it shame? Is it embarrassment? Is it having this anxious need to hurry up and cover up? What comes to your mind when it comes to being naked? And a lot of times it could be a negative, like vulnerability. That's a good one, Sonia. Vulnerability. If you run out the house naked, somebody calls the cops on you, you will get it arrested for exposure, indecent exposure. And somebody will absolutely be offended, and you might even get, if there's children around, they might even hit you with a sex offender charge. Okay. Nakedness has a negative connotation to it in today's age. Let's talk about, how you might see some scantily clad women walking around. You might be like, well, what is wrong with her? She need to go put some clothes on. She's half naked. Nakedness has negative connotations to it. But I also feel like for some people, thinking about being naked and thinking about Adam and Eve, some people may not even fathom walking around all day naked. But I have to tell you that this type of nakedness you're going to want to have. So vulnerability and being open, those are great thoughts about being naked because you are. When you're naked, there is you nothing you can hide. No matter how ashamed you are of your body, no matter what thoughts may come up for you, you cannot hide anything because it's all out there in the open. There is nothing to hide. So this is what Dr. Carroll said about nakedness and Adam and Eve. All right. So she said nakedness means to have no barriers. Makes sense, right? Can't have anything blocking you when you're naked. So no barriers. She said that Adam and Eve had nothing between them physically, emotionally, or spiritually. They had no hiding and they were being known. Take a minute to think about that. When I read this, it blew my mind because I can say in my immature mind, Adam and Eve walking around naked, that was like the farthest I went with that is they got used to seeing each other naked. I never, ever, ever thought or even comprehended the fact that because they were naked, they had no barriers. They knew each other inside and out. They knew each other the way God knows us. They had nothing blocking them from knowing each other. Okay. So you got Adam over here. He was originally created. He was created first. So he got the first prototype. Okay. He got the first body. Okay. And then our father created Eve, excuse me, created Eve from Adam's rib. Okay. So they they knew each other much, much deeper. They had a connection much deeper than any connection we have today. I am going to say that. And I firmly believe that. One, because it was just the two of them with God in the center, and some animals. Sure, they may have talked to the animals, told them what to do, but to have conversation, they had each other with no other distractions. So, with them having each other with no other distractions, they had nothing else to do but to know one another and bask in their nakedness. Take a moment to think about that. I don't it was life changing for me. I don't know if it is for y'all, but think about that. Just sitting there being known by your mate, by your spouse, with nothing blocking you. There was no shame. There was no regret. There was no uh disappointment. There was none of that. There was no I'm imagining this, but I don't know if it's 100% true, but I'll say for us, there was no, oh my gosh, I don't want him to see my thighs. I don't want him to see after having children. I don't want him seeing my breasts. Now, she ain't had children. I don't think she had children before they got thrown out. But those, I mean, she had no worries about that. Her man knew her every inch of her body. He knew her. And he knew her spiritually. He knew her emotionally, every inch of her. You can have the most intimate relationship with your spouse. Y'all could be married for 50 million years, but there is always going to be something that you cannot let them know. You put up a barrier to block him or her from knowing that part of you. There's things you're hiding. There's things that you put a barrier up to protect, to keep them from knowing that about you. There's those things. It's there. It's between y'all. They cannot get to know you in depth if you're hiding behind a barrier. Let's forget about clothes. Clothes, that's symbolism of a barrier. But let's forget about that for a second. In your most vulnerable moments, getting out the shower, um, after making love, or when you're about to make love, those are your most vulnerable moments, your most intimate moments, and there's still a barrier between y'all. Think about if you took the stance of vulnerability, getting rid of the barriers, having nothing between you. There's no hiding. If you took the stance of not hiding behind something, what could that do for your relationship? What could that do for your marriage? Even if you aren't married yet, think about that for your marriage. What could that do in the future? A lot of times, and I'm saying this from one personal experience and two from working in couples therapy, okay? There's things that we have done in our life that is so, you deem it to be so opinion changing. It could ruin the image that you have with your spouse. It could ruin how they feel about you. There are those things that you do not share with, maybe not your spouse, maybe not anybody. There's those things. And because you don't want to share those things, you are keeping yourself away. You may not even be thinking about it that way, but you are. You're keeping yourself away from your spouse by holding on to that stuff. If you want happiness in the marriage, if you want peace in the marriage, if you want openness in the marriage, think about the things that you have to get naked with. What are those things? What is going to be shown when you bear it all? Y'all tell me what you think. I need to take a sip of water, but y'all tell me what you think. Then I want to take it a step further. So then you have the relationship with Abba. He's your dad. He's your daddy. He's your creator. He has made you be who you are today. He is the one person that absolutely knows everything about you. But yet, our relationship, I'll talk about for myself, yet my relationship with him can get stalled out because even though he knows everything about me, there are still things that I am too ashamed about that I will try to hide from him. But how can you hide stuff from your creator? How can you hide things from the person that has made you from head to toe? He's formed you in your mother's womb. He knew you before he knew anybody else knew you. He knew you. But yet you stall out because, man, that thing, that thought, that action, that thing is too bad that I cannot expose it to him. I cannot hide. He knows me. But this is the trick. You're trying to hide, but you're blocking your relationship from growing, and hiding it is only in your mind because he knows it already. But in your mind, you can't let him see that. But he already seen it. He seen it when it happened. He seen it when the thought came to your mind. He seen it. He been there from the very first step. He sees it. But you stopping yourself because you don't want him to be ashamed. You have that shame. You are wearing the veil of shame. But he sees all and he knows all. Can you make that make sense? Can you make that make sense? Because I can't. I can't make it make sense. Even as I'm telling you this right now, as this revelation is revealing itself right now, I'm feeling convicted. I'm like, you know what, Lord? Okay, it makes no sense. I can't do that. So now with him, if you're married, with him, he is the center of, he needs to be the center of your marriage, right? So you have you, your creator, your spouse, right? And one of you, it's two of y'all out of the three that knows absolutely everything about you. One of you out of the three is in the dark about those things. How can you maintain a healthy marriage when one of you is in the dark, but two of you, it's like you got this secret, and it's two of y'all that have this secret, and it may be a secret you said, I'm going to the grave with this thing. It's two of y'all got this secret, and just like, because our marriages are supposed to symbolize the relationship between Abba and the church, his bride, right? So you got two people, two out of the three that knows this thing, and one of you who is kept in the dark. And because you're kept in that person is kept in the dark, and it could be you might be kept in the dark. So because it is kept in the dark, the marriage is not going anywhere. How can it? Because I mean, your spouse, y'all both may have these secrets, but you are supposed to be completely intimate with your spouse, just like your relationship with the father. Can't have intimacy if you're not letting the person in to see you. Get naked, expose it all. No more barriers. That may look like a lot of prayer because it's going to be it's scary. I know it's scary. So that may look like a lot of prayer. That may look like um possibly going to therapy. That might look like a very long conversation. And it could go better than you expected. Your spouse might say, oh, okay, that's all right. And then you're sitting there like, well, I've been holding this for 50 years. Why was I holding it when it's totally okay with them? And then it makes you feel foolish. You get embarrassed. But it's okay because now you are on a pathway of being completely open. I I've been kind of getting addicted. I am addicted again to this show. How to Get Away with Murder. And I've been watching that show for the last couple weeks. And when it was on TV, that was my show. I love that show. Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder. I sat there and watched it and made sure I got home on Thursday nights to make sure I got to watch these shows. Okay. All of the secrets that they had in that show, I'm like, dang, I didn't realize it was this many secrets. All the secrets that were on this show, all of the things that they got to keep, make sure they everybody got their story straight. They got to make sure that, this person doesn't say this about that situation, and oh, don't let the cops come in. Who's going to snitch first? All of that. I got anxiety just sitting there watching it. And then right here, I'm like, man, what if people are like that in their marriages? I'm here to tell you, there's people like that in their marriages, okay? It did. Sonia, when I was watching, I was like, what? Was it this bad before? I don't remember it being this this bad. It's so raunchy. But I I'm like, how you see relationships falling apart, and then you see relationships built on trauma, which, let me tell you, that's a whole new situation. Having a trauma bond, that is something else, okay? So there's no, like, having that many secrets, that's too much. And that stuff starts to eat away at you. And as it eats away at you, you are trying to figure your way out of it. There are things that I'll say in my life that I've done. And there are things I'm like, I ain't telling nobody about this. Can't tell nobody about this. This is going to the grave with me. I'm not telling nobody about this. That stuff starts to eat away at you. It starts to eat away at you. And then you see it spill over into your relationships. You start to see that spill over into your relationship with Abba. You start to see that. And because, like I told y'all, now he sees all, he knows all. But these secrets begin to play a trick on you. And the trick is to divide you, to remove you out of relationship with the Father. Case in point, Adam and Eve. Okay. Perfect example. What happened? They bit the fruit. Their eyes opened up and they became aware of their nakedness. This is when the word naked takes a turn. Before, nakedness was having nothing between you and knowing all, right? But now that our eyes are open, shame hits. And we got to cover up because shame makes you cover up. Shame makes you create barriers. Shame makes you separate yourself because you're no longer worthy of that relationship. You're no longer worthy of that other person that matters opinion. So now naked is a dirty word. And there is no more open being open. There's no more um your partner Adam knowing Eve emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Same thing for Eve. It's no more of that. Oh no, we're naked. We can't, we got this, we committed this sin. Now the shame is here and we got to cover up. Can't be naked. What do you mean naked? We cannot be naked anymore. Let's get some leaves or whatever they use to cover up. They make it seem like it's leaves. It could be something else. But anyway, they cover up. They cover up, and then this is the other thing. In the midst of their nakedness, in the midst of their knowing, do you realize them knowing each other spiritually only could happen with the afternoon meetups they had with the Father? They had to be in communion with the Father to know each other in that way. You why? Because he knows them in that way. He created them for each other, so he's going to show them how to have that vulnerability, how to have that intimacy. So he's showing them that. But now we got shame and embarrassment. So I got to cover that up and I got to hide from the Father. Gotta hide. As I just said, separation in your relationship with him. That's what happens. So he come now, he done seen it already. He already knows what happened. He knew it was going to happen before it happened. Okay. He comes for his afternoon stroll and he's like, hey, where y'all at? What's going on? I am seriously paraphrasing, but he's like, where y'all at? And they come out, we over here. They're not excited to see him because they got that thing to hide. And he's like, well, what's up? What's going on? What y'all got going on? And they are like, well, we're trying to hide because we ain't want you to see us naked. And he's like, hold up. I've been seeing you naked all this time. Who told you you were naked? And then the blame game hits. Well, she got that little fruit and from that tree you told us not to touch. Yeah, she got that and she gave it to me. Yeah, but the serpent, he told me I could eat it too. He said it was all right. All of that they shared was shame. And when we face shame, and we place blame, it can't be our fault. It has to be somebody else's fault. Somebody else told me to do this. Somebody else told me that I look this way. Somebody else told me it was okay for me to partake in this. Never a whole lot of accountability. Shame, embarrassment. I wouldn't feel this way if it wasn't for. I wouldn't feel this way if I didn't do. I wouldn't feel this way if I followed behind. I wouldn't feel this way. So now they face displacement because of all of this. because of all the shame. They are facing displacement. Life as they knew it was over, and they had to enter into a new way of living. Meaning, from that moment on, when shame entered the picture, the cushy, wonderful life that they had was over. Now you got Adam having to work. He has to toil all night, all day. Eve giving birth is going to be painful. Can y'all imagine if they did not follow the serpent? Okay, can y'all imagine those of us that's had babies? Can you imagine what that would feel like when it was time to give birth and we had to go through the labor pains? Could you? I probably had babies 10 times. Okay, I probably would. I'm being silly, but I'm so serious. I probably would because it would be easy. All I gotta do is push it out, push the baby out, and I'm straight. All of that changed. Hey, Teresa, all of that changed. Once they had shame, once they put those barriers up, they put the barriers up to keep the father from continuing to have a relationship with them. That's what they did. And I often think about how that would be the same for me, or how it is the same for me. I can even go so far as, do I want to use that? Everything has a cause and effect. And when there's a relationship where infidelity is a problem, though the hurt spouse puts all the blame on the one that committed the adultery, that committed the infidelity. And the person that committed the infidelity will say, well, this wouldn't have happened if you would have paid me some attention, or if you weren't working so much, or if you I don't know, you weren't dealing with the kids all the time, if the kids didn't come before me, this wouldn't have happened if you didn't. And the person that is hurt will not, in the beginning, they will not take ownership of what happened, because then they feel like, well, are you saying that it's my fault that you cheated? I It's not my fault. You did that. I didn't make you go over there and, what, seek attention. I didn't make you do this. I didn't make you do that. Cause and effect, and placing shame and blame. Placing shame and blame on the partner. Does that sound familiar? Adam and Eve. Adam placed blame and shame on Eve. Eve placed blame and shame on the serpent. No ownership. No ownership. No, everybody is passing the buck. But what happens if you decide that you take ownership? You decide that you're going to be vulnerable. Because in that moment, it's about the fight. It's about protecting yourself. It's about the hurt that has already been caused. So that's what it is in that moment when there's infidelity. And there is no thought right away, there is no thought about um saving the marriage. It's you consider, okay, I do want to stay in my marriage, but there's no thought of let me get vulnerable so that we could get intimate in this moment and heal. And when I say vulnerable, when I say intimate, it's the original definition that I started this episode with, getting naked. And I'll tell you what it is again. Dr. Carroll said to have no barriers, and that, like Adam and Eve in the very beginning, they had nothing between them, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. There was nothing. They had no hiding, and they were being known, not just between them, but also allowing themselves to be known by the Father. What could that do if you decided enough is enough? We aren't seeing eye to eye right now. We're not. We need to have a moment where we can get naked. How do you think that would change your sex life if you decided to reach that level of intimacy? What if you did that? Telling your partner those secrets that you said you would never tell them. Having Abba in the midst of that, what would that look like? How would that change the status of your marriage? This by no means says this is me saying that everybody has a terrible marriage. I'm not saying that. But I believe anybody can improve. The greatest marriages can improve. There's always room to grow. There's always room to connect on a different level. Always. So you you have to get to a place where you want to be that vulnerable. If you want Abba to take you to a new level in life, in your marriage, in your relationships, you got to let him get into that place that you try to hide from him. You have to, because it's so worth it. And I'm talking to myself too, okay? This is not just for y'all. This is for me too. There are so many things that we can do to create that intimacy. You got to, first of all, you have to change the way you see it. Reframe your thinking about that thing. Reframe your thinking about yourself. You have to see yourself as the person that can bear all and still be accepted. A lot of times we keep a secret because we don't want the person, we don't know if the person is going to reject us out of fear of rejection, and that if they're not going to accept you. Acceptance is a very big deal. And the moment that we feel like we won't be accepted is the moment that we start to hide. I see it all the time. I see it all the time. I can't share that with them because they will look at me this way. Can't share it with them because it's going to hurt them. The most candid and realest conversations that I have is when I'm able to get someone, a client, let's say a client, by themselves without the spouse, just me and them. Get them by themselves, and they will share with me things that they cannot think about sharing with their spouse because they don't want to hurt their spouse. They don't want to feel rejection. They need to maintain acceptance from their spouse. That is the most candid conversations that I have. And when I have those conversations, I'm like, that makes so much sense. That's why I was feeling like you were hiding. That's why I was feeling like you would stop yourself from talking. Makes so much sense. You have to accept yourself first. Yeah, with that ugly, dirty thing, that whatever that thing is, you have to accept yourself, even with it. It's some painful things that I've witnessed, gone through, um, did painful things. But I'm still learning, but I had to learn to accept myself in regards of that. I had to. That's part of my story. That's part of me. No matter how much that thing causes pain, that is still part of me. And I got to accept it. I did it. I thought it. I, went through it. I hate it, but I still have to accept it because that's still part of me. That's still me. That's still part of my story and my journey. I have to accept it. How can I want my husband to accept that thing if I can't? It's what got me to this place. It's there. It was there for a reason. I gotta accept it. I know I'm not going to do it again. I know that I'm not going to go through it again. It doesn't rule me once I accept that it's part of my journey. That is getting naked with yourself. Because we might, look at these things. We might look at these things and want other people to accept us and get vulnerable with us, get naked. But we refuse to do that for us. But let me tell you, that's part of your healing. I don't know what it is, but it's part of your healing. So you got to get naked with yourself and say, you know what? Okay. This thing happened about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Okay. No, I wasn't in a good place when it happened. Yeah, even reflecting on it, I still got that little twinge in the back of my throat. Like, it's still, yeah. But it doesn't have to control me. I need to get to know myself as that being part of me, because that is something from your past that you did. You did it, or you accepted it as far as something that, I don't know, somebody did to you. That's what I mean by you accepted it. But it was you. So it's part of you. It could be, I don't know, a part of you that um you have tried to hide and keep from other people. You feel like it's something where, um if other people see this thing, it can it could really hurt them. Maybe a bad temper, you might get into a very dark place, I don't know, but it's still you. You got to accept that. I can, even when I'm watching How to Get Away with Murder, something that has continued to come up for me is watching it and thinking about where I was mentally and emotionally during that time, and when it was out. And when I think about that, I'm like, I always see just like the show, darkness. I was in a dark place, trying to crawl my way out of it, trying to heal. And eventually I did start crawling out of it. I did start healing. But as I'm watching that, I have to accept that that was part of who I was at that time. That's not who I am today. I'm I am more healed today than I was then, but it was still part of me. And I got to accept me, all of me, all of me, no matter what. I cannot expect Tariq to accept me if I can't accept myself. I've been very candid about self-esteem and confidence, having low confidence in myself. It's a continued journey. Okay. And it's something that I am always working on. And I did have a moment this past week where I needed a pep talk. I needed him to tell me why I can't even remember the question that I asked him, but he gave me what I needed. But I also, even though he helped me get out of that place, I also had to do the work internally to get out of that place and allow myself the opportunity to continue to accept and heal. So, all right, y'all. You got any questions? I see the comments is blowing up, but you got any questions? I'm gonna take some water. Thank you all for joining me. And if you are not subscribed to, excuse me, to the Love Experience show, go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. Follow the page on Facebook and join me. If you want to be a guest on the Love Experience show, let me know. Email me, DM me, whatever. Let me know. All right. That's good. Nothing between. It was nothing between them and being known. Um that Sonia being known to be known is one of your favorite phrases. It's starting to be mine too, because I think that's what a lot of us want, to be known, for our partners to know us. That is a common complaint that I hear. Wives say, I wish he would get to know me. I wish he knew me. Let me see. Sonia, you said good point. I was hesitant on sharing my past, aka love experience, with my husband when we were dating. Opened up, got naked. He accepted me just like Abba Father does. That's good. She said, how can we hide stuff from our creator? I, I know I can only talk about this because that has been my experience in the past, trying to hide me from my creator, and it makes no sense to me. I don't know what I was thinking doing that. Oh, you uh shared with a friend, keeping God in the center of your marriage. We have to. I think that that's something that, if we're believers and married, that's something that we need to pass on along frequently for other people. You got to keep God in the center of your marriage. You have to. You got to do it. Yep, see. Teresa said, "Hey Ashley, I'm definitely going to catch replay so I can see from the beginning. Sounds good. Thank you, Teresa. I'm so glad that y'all enjoying this. Thank y'all. Um, that's your life tagline. Know God, be known by God, make God deeds known. That's right. Make God's deeds known. That's right. Um, does anybody have any questions or anything? I'm so happy that y'all are here with me. Oh, this is shifting just a little bit. Meant to do this in the beginning. I don't know if she's watching, but Kathy, I need to tell you, happy belated birthday. I am so sorry I forgot your birthday. And if you're not watching, I'm going to text you and tell you happy belated birthday. And tomorrow is my Aunt Linda's birthday. So happy birthday, Aunt Linda. And I don't know if Marquise will be up to singing. He's a little sick. And today was someone's birthday and he did not want to sing because he didn't want to mess up the song. So I'll see what happens tomorrow if y'all gonna get oh, you're watching. You're welcome, Aunt Linda. So I'll see tomorrow if the birthday singing little boy is feeling up to it. um but I appreciate y'all watching. Go ahead if you enjoyed this. Oh, you're welcome, Kathy. If you enjoyed this, share it. Share it with those who you think will can benefit from this message. Um, I'm glad that I was obedient and shared it. And let me tell you something. Most of the stuff that I said was just revelation as I was talking to you guys about this. So, um, thank you, Sonia. I appreciate y'all. Next week, next Thursday, I will have a guest. Okay. So y'all join me next Thursday and meet my guest. And it is my birthday next Thursday. So it would be a great gift if I saw all of your smiling faces next week, and maybe some more people that you feel like you want to invite. That would be great. So y'all just won't see me. You will see my guest. Hopefully, as if things will continue to go well, you'll see the guest. I'm excited. I don't know her, but she came highly recommended. So we'll see. Thank y'all. Thank you for watching. If you have any other topics that you would like me to cover, go ahead and let me know. And again, the devotional that I got the nakedness from is called Sex Expectations. I will tell you in a second. Sex Expectations, oh Lord. God, Intimacy, and Your Love Life by Dr. Carol. Okay. I don't know. Hopefully, what I told y'all tonight will help you want to look into it. I've recommended, but it was right up my alley. So, yeah, it's good to me. All right, y'all. Nobody else has anything else to say. I love you. Don't forget to like this episode, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you want to be a guest or if you've been a guest before, if you want to return, let me know. And that's it. Until I see y'all again, the only question I got is what is your love experience? Bye, guys. See you next week.